2, 3. I'll find it. You know, I looked up at the computer then, and I've got a little notes box open, but where it is, it definitely looked like an error pop up, and I was like, no, not again.
For context, let's address it now. This is the third or fourth attempt of today to record a podcast. You know, it's.
I'm really paranoid now. I'm looking at the camera. It's recording. Yeah, I can see it. The audio's recording as well. I can see Lewis's face. On this so on this end, it all feels like it's kind of. I'm not gonna tempt fate by finishing that sentence, but yeah.
No,
let's get on with
it. If you really want to support us and our really professional setup that totally doesn't break every week, give us a follow on Instagram via DRH Pod. Genuinely a massive thank you to people who've been interacting with us on Instagram and in the comments on YouTube in previous weeks. We can literally see a little spike in numbers across the board every time an episode comes out and gets quite a bit of interaction on there. So, you know, smash that like button and the other stuff.
Or
what's that thing when they say if you don't feel happy, just force a smile and it'll start to be real? It doesn't work with cheesy promotional stuff.
I was sat here then looking at you doing that and thinking, God, he's really doing well doing this, and he makes it seem really sort of like, you know, natural and stuff. And then you went and said, smash the like button. But in reality, it's about the interaction. We want to hear from you guys. We want to take the pod in directions that you want it to go in. We want to talk about things that you want us to talk about. And also, just like, if you feel like you need to give us some shit about something, then do that. I'm happy to have a conversation if I've said something wrong or.
Oh yeah, all that stuff. Like, share, and you know.
And nah.
That's not getting edited out.
No, that's definitely staying in.
That might be the thumb. That might be the little thumb at the end. I was going to say. Do you know what? You've got so many options to embarrass me this week, Charlie. Let's just.
I can't believe you've just aired the fact that you've got one little thumb.
I'm conscious about putting my hands on camera now, just in case that was a joke that was real and I've never noticed. I've got body dysmorphia of the thumbs, and it's like, oh, now that you've said it, I've realised.
Yeah, it suddenly screams at you.
Suddenly, this week's thumbnail is obvious. Hey, banter. What have you been up to?
Well, you know what? Actually, we had our sort of, we're trying to get into a routine of having a walk on a Sunday, aren't we?
Yeah.
With our dogs and our other halves and stuff, and I feel like we're coming to, obviously officially we know lockdown is releasing, and you know, and certain things are opening back up, and knowing that is happening compared to feeling like it's happening and actually things moving forward in a positive and safe way, it feels like, and it is actually happening, because we got to go on a walk today. Like, obviously, you know, we took all like the precautions, and I take a lot of precautions with Lewis anyway, just because he's, you know, nothing to do with social distancing. Just, you know,
I've always kept Charlie at 6 feet away at all times.
I'm a biter. What can I say? But yeah, it feels good to not just be talking online or on the phone or WhatsApping you and stuff, and actually spending a bit of time with, you know, a good mate, like, and then I came home and did a bit of gardening. So if my hands do come up and they're a bit grubby, I'm not feral. I've been doing a bit of gardening. So in my garden, yeah.
Talk about green fingers. I don't really know what the bit was.
Shut up, little thumb.
Is that like Littlefinger's rubbish sidekick in Game of Thrones? I really did tap out earlier. I don't remember these characters. Little Thumb and Green Fingers. Speaking of alternative names that are terrible, let's really spontaneously talk again about what you got told we get referred to as.
Oh, right. Yeah. So, you just got to imagine it was well funnier when I mentioned it in the first, second, and third time we recorded this.
Yeah.
But I got told that by a couple that listen to the pod, that they refer to the pod as Dr. H.
Yeah.
I love it, because I'm clearly the doctor, Oh no, now I don't want to be it because I heard Doctor Who when I said that.
Doctor Who? Oh.
Shut up, H.
Do you know what? Oh, I think this week just don't edit any of it. It's all in. At this point, it's all in. Just 30 seconds of me crying and laughing and just wondering what's going on.
I'm so paranoid. I feel like I'm just looking at all the things that are open, going done. Yes, recording.
I've
yeah.
I've had a craving recently. Speaking of Doctor Who, to rewatch the Peter Cushing TV movies.
All right.
Does one of them precede the series, or were they made alongside the first series? But either way, Peter Cushing plays a very different version of the Doctor. And although it's not canon or it's not like a proper thing, it's one of those things that I think in the Doctor Who community, it's only hipsters or, minus pretentious points again. There's only like that.
He's on -4 now.
There's only trolls.
In all fairness, though, I do give him the opportunity to crawl those points back. He's just never done it. That's not my problem.
There's only the trolls like me or people who like it ironically, to the point where it's not ironic anymore. I quite like them. I know I think they've been re-released on Blu-ray recently, and I've had a craving to watch them. I don't know where that was going. There's no rabbit hole to go down with that. Just yeah. Great. This is going to be the weirdest episode ever. I can't wait. If you're going to respond to any episode, this is the one. This is the one to get your comments.
Yeah, help us out.
A breakdown.
Well, it depends which version of the episode you're watching. I think he had a breakdown in every one of them.
Oh yeah, at some point, yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Right. So, what have you been watching, reading, consuming?
Yeah. So, there was a few options this week. We've tried many times to have a conversation about me rewatching Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex, and a joke that we made, which then happened again, was that in us discussing machines becoming sentient and can a robot or a computer have a soul, our technology failed us because obviously Skynet was listening and wasn't happy with what we were talking about. So we'll move very swiftly on and maybe come back to that another day. 2 things I've been reading since we last
can you imagine if it went again? Then can you imagine?
I really would cry on camera and tell you to leave it in to let people know the blood, sweat and tears that goes into this pod.
Just an hour and a half of you crying into camera.
Hey, I might get a BAFTA out of it. That'd be all right. That'd be nice little unexpected turn. So things I've been watching. Oh my. This is all staying in. This is things I've been reading.
You're damn right.
Things I've been reading. 2 books. One I finished. One I'm quite far into because I've been making a conscious effort to get back into reading like proper books, not just picture ones. One is a novel by William C. Dietz or Dietz, I don't know. Get over it. Who wrote the Andromeda trilogy and the Legion of the Damned series. He has a trilogy of books called The Mutant Files, and it's basically about a version.
That's a good title. That I like.
Oh yeah, that's a solid one. The first one of which is called Dead Eye, and it's about a cop in a future version of LA where a pandemic has hit the Earth, and this is wrote a few years ago, by the way. I've just stumbled across a few things recently that have been about pandemics, which is weird. But anyway, it's about a future version of the Earth where a disease has wiped out a large amount of the population, and those who are left are either normal human survivors or people who have been mutated, who are basically mutants, as a sort of a spin-off of the virus where they've survived, but it happens to be that a vast array of things have happened where we've basically got a whole other race of humans now who are like, some of them are like almost like animalistic, some of them have like abilities, and there's all this, and within that world it just happens to be a police detective thing that happens alongside.
That sounds cool.
I might claw back some pretentious points because it's definitely the least pretentious author of modern series. He tends to do military sci-fi stuff, so it's very not overly complicated, not overly verbose, quite quick to read, very action focused. But a lot of character stuff as well, like a lot of nice arcs with different characters in the books, and he's got tons of stuff out there. Not some of it not as well received, some of it not as critically acclaimed, shall we say? But yeah, I smashed with the first book in a couple of days, which is probably not saying much because again, it's not exactly it's not Dune or Lord of the Rings. If I've smashed that in a couple of days, then fair play. But
yeah, fair play to you.
But yeah, and it's something I think you'd enjoy as well because it really touches on quite a few of the things we're into, like obviously the sci-fi angle and the future world stuff. One of those where you could start in your own head to talk about, we talk about canon recently, like I can imagine the Blade Runner world at some point spinning off from this, or I can imagine a universe where this is the same universe as as other stuff I'm into. It has that very cyberpunk feel, but then obviously with this in particular, it's got the murder mystery side, it's got the police side, which obviously I know we've spoken before. You're obviously into like crime docs and mysteries and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. That sounds good. I'm just going to run it into the algorithm and see whether or not you do get any points back. I always forget to carry the 1 on this, so let me just have a look at it. Algorithm, no. No, you're still on the mine. I'm just gonna. I had my little notepad ready here to change it, but it's still -3. Unfortunately, worse. Where you really fell down was mentioning that you might crawl back a point. That just really.
Oh yeah, there we go.
The algorithm was not happy about that at all. Sorry.
And I mean, this is where I might lose another. Because I started a second book in the same week because I'm so well read. I'm so learned. Called The Atlantis Gene by A.G. Riddle. So I recently bought a Kindle and got a Kindle Unlimited or whatever their subscription thing is because consciously trying to read a bit more, and also as a way to test a few comics out where like there's a lot of volume 1s available through either Amazon's Prime Reading or Kindle Limited. They don't sponsor us, but it's a nice little service so far. And then I thought, obviously, I can test out some comics. If I like Volume 1, we'll talk about it on here, or I'll go and buy, the big version. And also, there's a lot of books on there. And this is a book that I came across in recent months, years, alongside, at the time, reading a lot of alternate history stuff, or not alternate history, I guess. Right. Ancient civilizations. I know there's some really kooky stuff out there and a lot of stuff, but I've been reading a lot of Graham Hancock books, which he's a journalist, but very well respected. There's a number of scientists who back a lot of the things he says, and again he talks about he's not a scientist or a historian, but he's
been on
time.
He's been on Rogan, hasn't he, a few times?
Exactly,
and
really
those episodes are really good. Yeah.
So this is in line with that, where it talks about the premise is basically that there's a discovery about an ancient civilization, prehistoric civilization that may have a technology or a virus or something that is threatening humanity. And after reading the book, it's a semi-spoiler, the synopsis, because the story itself is again a bit of a military sci-fi spy thriller that happens to then go, oh, by the way, you think this is like a cool, like a secret spy organization and we're following a character within that, and you think it's going to be Jason Bourne, but it's actually way more sci-fi thriller-esque, and we're talking about discovering old Nazi submarines in an Antarctic block that's broke away, and they were trying to find this ancient civilization weapon, and you're like, oh, this is getting this has gone super geeky. I love it. Which I'm thoroughly enjoying that, and again, very not the most verbose, not the most heavily written thing. I believe it's a trilogy. I'm about halfway through the first book. I'm really enjoying it. It does something interesting, actually. There's a character that feels like it's the protagonist, feels like your main character. He's like the young, up-and-coming cool agent, and it gives you a bit of his backstory. And without giving anything away, he doesn't end up being the main character. Somebody else who's a little more, who feels like a side character, ends up kind of being the main character.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it's just something interesting, just something quite nice about the pacing of the story and the fact that it changes points of view. It's not the most original thing that, there's plenty of books out there that do that, but I don't know, it's just one of those where I thought, this feels like quite a straight up espionage thriller, and then then there's this weird sci-fi angle, and then and also, by the way, we're going to play with the convention of who's the main character, who's the protagonist, because there's a couple of characters that very quickly you think are good, and then you think they're bad, and then you find out more, and then they become good, and there's just a lot of playing with dynamics of goodies and baddies, basically. Another one I think you'd enjoy as well. So,
yeah. What's that? I'm semi-asking for myself, but anyone who's really turned on to that idea and that narrative. What's that called again?
The Atlantis Gene by A.G. Riddle. Yeah,
that sounds
like
cool.
It's on. Yeah, I mean, it's a cool title. I mean, the Atlantis. Yeah. I mean, again, that kind of gives away.
When you said it, I was like, that's a great title. Again, I thought I've just said that about the mutants one, so I can't. I can't do it again, otherwise it just like copy and paste what I'm saying.
They say don't judge a book by its cover, but when it comes to
mate,
books,
fuck that, I do that all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes the title alone, never mind the rest of the cover. And it's got quite a nice cover as well, as I'm looking on my Kindle. So I'm sure there'll be plenty more things to talk about that I've read in the coming weeks from there. I've actually read and watched quite a few things since we last spoke, but there is something nice about the accidental symmetry or rhythm of a couple things that I read through quite quickly or I'm reading through quite quickly. Mm-hmm. And now there's a lot of themes. I get that it's very likely that if I have something recommended to me on Amazon or whatever website I happen to be browsing, with the way like ads work now and algorithms work, it is likely I'm going to come across things again and again that are very on brand for what I'm into.
Yeah.
But
which is great when in a certain way, because you're constantly seeing stuff that you're already into.
Yeah.
My issue is it doesn't really take you out of your bubble.
Yeah.
It becomes a bit echo chambery.
Yeah, and
with things.
And that's where I like to take recommendations from people for things. I mean, we're tumbling down a bit of a rabbit hole here, but we've spoke before about the difference between getting information about something from the source. For example, when you've been to Disney World, Disneyland before, to Disney, basically. You've been to a theme park, and you can find out what time things start, and you can find out what order things are in. But then there's certain groups where you'll ask someone specifically, what do you think is the best way to do this?
Yeah.
Or, this event's on at this time, but actually, should I get there half an hour early? Can I get there quite last minute? There's a difference between having something recommended officially or getting the information, but then somebody can tell you their experience of something. Like there's certain films, for example, we talk about that I could tell you what it's about, or I could tell you, it's a thriller, and you'll be well into it, go into it without knowing that much, and you might have a better experience because of that, and you can recommend something that way. There's just there's a little personal edge added to it, which I think is nice.
Yeah, I think there's there can be a massive difference between like on paper and then the practical application of that.
Yeah,
and I think you've got. I personally like to take a bit of mix of it both. Like I've watched, and the same as you and lots of other people watch like film and TV review shows.
Yeah,
and for me, if somebody gave it a really bad review, it wouldn't stop me from watching it. I kind of watch it for the snippets that you're gonna see. Certain story points that maybe don't come across in the trailer, but they're hinted at or talked about in a review that make me go, yeah, you might not like that, but that sounds like something I'd be really into. So again, I feel like you've got to, like anything in life, I suppose, you've got to take as much information as you can and like formulate your own like involvement with it, like going forward.
I agree with that. There's definitely certain people I will tend to line up with opinion wise, and I will you could probably say I'm quite influenced by their opinions. The biggest one for me is Red Letter Media. So many of their reviews, even when they're just kind of trolling and being silly, it'll tend to form like, oh no, that is kind of how I feel. And there are a lot of times in the past when, even if I've waited till after I've watched something to listen to their review, I'm like, oh, all the things I had a problem with or thought about that I thought seemed quite unique. Or they've already released a video about it 2 weeks ago, actually.
Do you remember when I thought I'd invented never go full Stamos? Do you remember when I thought I'd done that? We were watching an episode of Red Letter Media, and I just turned round to the people in the room. So we're talking, like, it's got to be over a year and a half ago, wasn't it? 2 years ago. Yeah. And I just turned round to the group and went, never go full Stamos. And then it was said on the episode. But obviously they recorded it weeks ago, and I was like, I thought I just invented that. And how did they do that? How did they steal something off me before I'd said it? Because obviously I did it first.
I'd argue that, us two aside, I think Red Letter Media are just the best thing on the internet. Let's just take a moment to appreciate them. Honestly, like the one of the most consistent channels out there in terms of, obviously the content's always out there, it's always of a good quality. Even when they talk about a bad film, and they might be a little bit mean for the majority of it, and we don't tend to like negative stuff, it still doesn't feel mean. You can tell they're doing it because they love film and they actually have genuinely sort of good opinions and thoughts.
It's a difficult line to dance down, isn't it, really, where, we've talked about stuff, and the times that we have spoken negatively about things, it's only because we really love the property, and it hasn't turned us away from the properties. It's just when you're invested so much, every micro decision means so much to the fans of it. It's almost easier to disappoint people who love it than not. Anything else you want to mention before I mention anything?
No, just Red Letter Media. If you see this, please invite us over. I'd love to be part of the group. I'm
not that bothered.
We have genuinely joked off camera before about, of all, do you know that thing about the conversation people have about whether you'd rather be rich or famous, or like who's a celebrity you'd want to be friends with, or who's the
or who you bring into your meal.
Yeah,
like you've got five people you can bring.
Every time for me, it's just I just want to be part of their group. I just think they're great. Like
So you're just making do with this then?
Oh yeah, for now.
Okay.
Until Rich Evans rings me and says, "Can you make funny loud noises as well?" I go, "Yes, I can, Rich. Yes, I can."
Can you do it without Charlie? Yeah. Right. So something I'm going to talk about that I've been watching that I don't think you would have thought it from me, but bit of reality TV.
Oh no! I knew this was a bad episode.
I mean, I'm going to swing it back the other way because it was Ink Master. So
nice. Okay.
So I have had, actually that was quite weird because that's lined up with me getting new tattoos. Basically, I had red in my tattoos and I didn't want the red in there. I wanted to just be black and grey. So it's taken a long process of getting them lasered out. And then after the last laser session, you've got to wait 6 months for your skin to be
heal
tough
up
enough
and be ready for the
tattoo. And because of lockdown and stuff like that, the process has taken even longer. But anyway, I was in the other day, and had the tattoo done. Really, really happy with it. But while that, I've been watching Ink Master. It's not actually the most recent season. I don't know how I ended up doing it, but I missed out a season.
Is it the American one?
Yeah. So it's the Battle of the Sexes season.
Right. Okay.
Sometimes Ink Master. My problem with a certain part of Ink Master is my same issue with a lot of reality TV. Is the concept of reality TV I love. Looking at something that you don't do, seeing someone with a skill doing something to a great degree, or someone who's a novice learning off an expert and taking that skill level up. There's one on Netflix called Blown Away. It's all about glass blowing. I've never had an inkling to do glass blowing, but it's a great show.
I heard it blows. You can raise your glass to that. The joke was there. It was so transparent.
People said he couldn't do 3, but he proved them wrong. He did 3 bad jokes. Yeah, so I've been watching Ink Master. So the thing that I don't like is that sometimes it focuses a little bit, not enough on the actual tattoos themselves.
Yeah.
Like, even when they put them up on the screen and they're comparing tattoos, it's up and then it's gone, and you're like, oh, what? But that thing you're talking about right now, can I see that?
Yeah.
And then they'll spend...
It's the thing of the show. It's called Ink Master.
Yeah, yeah.
You're focusing too much on the master and not on the ink.
and then there'll be like bits when they're in the green room, and it's the really quite obviously staged, like the production team have gone, can you just have an argument because you've been a tattoo artist for 18 years and this person's been a tattoo artist for 2, and then they have the argument and go, I've been and you're like, that just feels so forced. No. That's the bit that I really hate, and there's particular seasons where I've had to tap out because like it's too much. The last season, and then the one before it, which is I'm watching them in the wrong order, has a little bit better of a balance of it. You've got Oliver Peck and Chris Nunez, who are really, really well known in the tattoo industry. I think Nunez is like, he's more your Japanese traditional. That's his
like full arm, one big piece.
Yeah,
traditional
that's what he likes to do. But if you've watched, Miami Ink, which is where he became, super famous outside of the tattoo community, he will do most things. And then you've got Oliver Peck, who is American traditional. So like your eagle, your 3 colours, your fat outline, and they're sort of, as the show's gone on. The banter and which I hate that word, but you all know what I mean when I say it. Sort of the production quality has gone up, but also the way that they interact with each other has increased, and it is really good. And Dave Navarro, the guitarist from Jane's Addiction, Red Hot Chili Peppers, or all that sort of stuff, he's tattooed up top to toe, or the wrong way around, top to toe. And he's the sort of host, and his opinion, because he's also a judge as well as a host, his opinion is kind of more geared towards, as a consumer of tattoos, someone who gets tattoos, not a professional. That's where his judgment comes from.
Yeah,
it's a really cool show. You can dip in and dip out sort of thing, but yeah, that's what I've been watching. And I've actually got things that come in the post that I've been waiting for quite a while. This is actually based on a conversation we had ages ago on an episode, and I'm really happy that they're here now. So I'm going to open it. It's not like a weird sort of semi-unboxing thing, but I thought I'll do it on the episode and see how it comes. But that's the wrong.
So what you're saying is you bought yourself a present, not me. I bought
myself.
You wanted to open it in front of me, knowing that you've not bought me a present.
What it is we had a conversation on a particular episode.
Yeah.
It was all about that, and I was like, oh, I'm really going to get into that, and this is the proof that I am getting into it. So I bought myself volume 2 and volume 3. Let's do this the right way around. Of East of West.
Nice. It's about
really looking
time.
forward to.
How long ago did we talk about that?
Years ago. It was a different life when we were both cats. But yeah, so I've decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy myself one. Once I've read these 2, I'm going to buy myself one every month as a sort of like, you've got through another month. Well done, you. And then move on.
Really raising the bar for himself, Charlie. In case you didn't know.
Just getting through the month. If I ever achieve anything really positive in a month, you should see what I buy myself then. Nothing. I'm spending all my money on comics. It's not.
I'm up for doing this. I'm up for every couple of episodes maybe we'll each buy ourselves a little gift, and we'll talk about it on here, because I tend to do that anyway, so content is king. Let's get it on here.
Yeah.
And for the audio listeners, you get lots of nice ASMR, package unripping, unboxing.
Yeah. Unripping, ripping and unboxing. I'm not sure.
Is that a spin-off podcast?
Ripping and unboxing.
Digital rip it hole. Oh, I didn't like the sound of that.
Shut up, H. That's the Dr. H thing reference from earlier.
Do you know what I'd actually quite like? We've joked about this outside of the pod, and maybe I've mentioned it on the pod and we've just had no responses for it. But I'd love for you to get in touch with us, you know, on Instagram, in the comments, wherever you fancy, and give us a new name for DRH Pod. So it's Digital Rabbit Hole Podcast. But I'm quite curious if other people have a Dr. H, or if there's a, you know, maybe a slightly less family friendly nickname that you have for us based on DRH.
Oh, they're always the better ones, aren't they? You know. They always are. Yeah. I actually, going back to the pod, if you can let me do that, Lewis.
No. We've gone way off track now.
I noticed on one of the streaming services, I'm not sure, it might be, this is like as if I'm trying not to name it. I can't remember if it's Netflix or Amazon. But a film popped up there and I was like, oh my God, I've not seen that film since I was a kid. And it's similar to the sort of 90s episode that we did, where it's like, am I supposed to talk about things that I watched in the 90s, or can I talk about things that I've watched now but were made in the 90s? And when I saw this film, it's called They Live. I had only ever seen it as a kid, and I think as a kid you like, you know, the aliens and the shooting and all that sort of stuff. But there's definitely a more adult, not in a sort of porno way, but there's definitely a more adult feeling towards it, like, you know, who's really in charge and all that sort of stuff. So as I've seen it on there, and I've purposely not watched it, even though it's like on the top of my list. I say that you can't change the order of your list, so it's not on the top of it. It's a lie. I want to challenge you to watch it between now and the next time we record.
Yeah.
Take a photograph, take a selfie of yourself, because that's how you do a selfie. I'll edit this out.
You won't.
Take a photograph of yourself watching it and pop it on Instagram or something, and I'll do the same. In fact, anyone who's going to watch it or fancies it, I'll do a bit of a review actually. Basically, it's Rowdy Roddy Piper, the wrestler, the 90s wrestler.
That's
which
it.
is such a weird casting.
That's all you need. Watch it.
Yeah, he's a WWF wrestler, because it was WWF when he was a wrestler. Anyway, I think he's, can I say the line from it? There's a great, after we've watched it, we'll talk about the line in it, which is just it's a really cool line. It pops up. I think it's like, I was going to say, I think it's been in The Simpsons. It's The Simpsons. Everything's been in it. It is in The Simpsons. And he gets these glasses that can see the real sort of, it cuts away like a bit of like a bullshit meter, and he can see things for what they truly are. I'm not going to go into it anymore. And then the powers that be don't want him to see that and want to stop him from seeing that. And then 80s hilarity ensues. But if you fancy that as a film, look at the poster for it. It's a very, very cool poster. The glasses are slightly down. There's a reflection of something in the glasses and all this. So if you are going to watch this film, maybe post a selfie of you doing it as well, and and we'll join in. But my challenge is to you, Lewis.
We've got Rowdy Roddy Piper, Ray-Bans, John Carpenter. Watch it.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I didn't even say John Carpenter, so yeah. So see what you think.
I will. I'm well up for this, and thank you. And yeah, everybody, please do get involved, because that will be super fun. But I'm going to say, Charlie, pretentious points on your side right now.
What? For what?
That is a super indie pick. That even John Carpenter fans are like, oof.
You know what?
That's a
Fuck
bold
you.
choice.
I'll take it. I'm just going to have to write that down there. When I decided I was going to do this, I wasn't aware that I was going to get pretentious points.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was a thing. But there we go. He's called me out on it. Backfired, hasn't it? That's the way it goes.
Really pretentious pop. No, it didn't work. So
I can only follow you if I know what you're doing. And I was really not knowing that then, mate.
Anything else to add, Charlie?
Yeah, guys. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
Bye.
Bye.
the little thumb at the end